Welcome to Module 5, our last module. This module is all about consultant plus copywriter positioning. The ideas and information in this module can be life-transforming for the freelance copywriter. It requires a very open mind toward change and toward a road less traveled. This, in a closed loop, makes everything we've examined in the previous modules more viable and valuable, and everything already examined works best for this positioning. Most freelance writers and copywriters position themselves as worker bees for hire. I never use this positioning, and I'm not a fan of it for anyone else. You need to understand that it is your positioning, more than your capability, that determines how well you are paid and how compliantly you are listened to. Your income and your quality of business life depends more on your positioning than on anything else. I can guarantee you for fact that there are copywriters significantly better at it than I am, with more and better credentials, but with 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/8 my income from copywriting, and who struggle after 20 and 30 years to dig up their next job, when I do not struggle at all. Some are envious and jealous critics, by the way. Believe it or not, I am not universally beloved in the copywriting world. I never used the vendor positioning in other businesses either, and I think that is instructive. In the late 1970s, I took over a specialty manufacturing company producing custom audio cassette programs for speakers, seminar companies, religious organizations, and others. This was a thin-margin commoditized business, which I hastily remade into a consultant plus manufacturer business with the emphasis on the consultant side. For a number of years, I had a video production company, writing and producing industrial videos, sales videos, and TV infomercials. Even then, a monkey with a camera could point, shoot, and get film in the can. We successfully sold our services at 5 times the competition, with consultant plus production positioning. So let's look at the reasons for consultant plus copywriter positioning. Number 1, just like being bisexual, it doubles your odds of having a date for the prom. I have clients come to me who have a clear idea they want me to write copy for them for certain purposes or projects. I have clients come forward who are nowhere near that point, but are ready and eager for help with strategic thinking about their businesses, advertising, and marketing. I always steer the first group into consulting first for other reasons on this list. I usually succeed at steering the second group through consulting to copywriting projects. There are, however, situations where a good sounding board and an advisor is all someone needs or wants, and there are worse gigs than sitting all day in your basement conference room listening to and brainstorming with a client paid thousands of dollars, in my case, now $19,000, or sitting on your backyard deck and listening and talking with a client on the phone, paid hundreds or thousands of dollars an hour. You miss out on the joy of writing, but they don't deduct a penalty for that at the bank. With established repeat clients, the consulting day is omitted, and I go right into another copywriting project. Number 2, instead of waiting for writing assignments, you get to create opportunities. In a consultant role, you get to ask a lot of questions, poke around, unearth glaringly obvious yet neglected opportunities, and basically find or create a lot of needs that you can fulfill. All the poking around is tolerated because you're being paid to do it, to fact-find and to advise, sort of like patients tolerate paying for proctology exams. Also, it's easier to accelerate the gestation of the potential client to the point of in-person, in-depth meeting and then to writing projects. You can't really get going if you are waiting for a client to figure out his own writing assignment until he figures out his own writing assignment and brings it to you. Lots of clients don't know they need anything written today, but just about everybody has worries, frustrations, issues, thoughts of missed opportunities, ambition to sell more or increase profits or triumph over competition today and every day. My first wife, describing her single years, said it eloquently. She said that it wasn't too easy to get her into bed because she didn't need sex, but it was a lot easier to get her to agree to a date because she needed to eat. Consulting is easier to sell now than is copywriting because the client may not need or know he needs copy today, but he needs ideas and information and opportunity finding and advice every day. Number 3, offer a bridge instead of asking for a leap. Have you ever been to the Grand Canyon? It's a very big hole in the ground. When Evel Knievel decided to jump across it on a motorcycle, the world thought he was crazy. I met him. He was. Your potential clients probably, hopefully, aren't. Asking them to leap from you appearing as copywriter who will write for food to hiring you is a big canyon-sized idea, especially if the client doesn't usually use outside copywriters. But even if he does, each new relationship is fraught with uncertainty and peril, and from his standpoint, a lot more bad things can happen versus only one good one. You make your request easier to respond to if you offer a bridge. The entire media platform strategy and array of media items we discussed in the previous modules is all about bridge construction. So is consultant plus copywriter positioning. If someone hires me for a day of consulting, their worst case scenario is loss of just that money and their time. But if they leap to entrusting me with a copywriting project, they stand to lose a lot more money, a lot more time, do damage with customers or leads, have egg all over their face with staff and spouse, and more. With a day of consulting, the client gets to take steps on a bridge, conversation, disclosure, his evaluation of the quality of questions asked and advice given. It's step, 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 not leap, don't worry, I'll catch you. Your bridge may be different than mine. Maybe a phone session instead of or ahead of an in-person meeting. The details are yours to work out. The point is, don't ask for a leap. Number 4, get paid every step of the way, or if not every step, for some steps. Your bridge may be free to get on and walk to some point, then there may be toll booths. In my case now, most start paying tolls to GKIC pretty early on the bridge, and they pay me every step of the way once they move over to my bridge. I rarely do free phone calls, so if a phone discussion has to occur before a consulting day, it's paid for. The initial consulting day is paid for. The copywriting is, of course, paid for, beginning with the retainer at contract. I experienced the ad agency model with preparation of custom ideas and pitches for a client for free, then pitching it at a formal presentation, often in competition with other agencies pitching the same account. Astute clients harvest a lot of free ideas this way. Me, working free, seemed like a good deal for them, but a bad deal for me. So I organized my approach to get paid every step of the way. With copywriter positioning, this is almost impossible. What should you be paid for? When you are a worker bee for hire, clients reasonably expect you to come calling, talk with them about the work they may hire you to do, write up proposals, all free of charge. You are selling yourself as a vendor, and that's what vendors do. But with consultant plus copywriter positioning, there is something to be paid for in advance of getting hired to write copy. And there is a pre-existing expectation that it does get paid for. Number 5, have more authority with the client and better control of the client. Worker bees hired to do work are told what to do. Consultants tell clients what to do. For quality of business life, I'd rather be dictating directions than taking them. The actor Robert Wagner, from It Takes a Thief, Heart to Heart, and the Austin Powers movies, told me that people who think being an actor is glamorous have it all wrong. He said that, with a handful of superstar exceptions, the actor shows up where and when he's told, does what he's told, is sent to his trailer or a corner to wait until summoned, then told what to do again, is often criticized, even berated in front of peers and crew, and is rarely asked his opinions about anything. I don't think I'd like that. Consultant plus copywriter position gives you a lot of authority. This can also greatly benefit the client. Assuming you know what you're doing, and I do, by the way, getting compliance, full implementation and follow-through by the client, without him mucking up your work with changes and ideas from nitwit relatives, employees, peers, or his dog, is to his benefit. Even having you in a positive frame of mind about doing your work benefits your client. If your positioning is as a worker bee for hire, you'll have very little control over anything and have a high risk of your clients driving you to drink and driving the nifty car you build right off a cliff. Number 6, you can be a general contractor instead of just the bricklayer. With consultant plus copywriter positioning, you can captain projects. This lets you contribute your work, but also steer other necessary work assigned to other experts and vendors. This is useful to you for 3 reasons. First, you can prevent sabotage of your work by uninformed and ignorant, incompetent, or meddlesome graphics people, web people, video people. Second, you can put in place a good team of freelance vendors that complement you and use them on every project, rather than trying to persuade, educate, befriend, and mollify new and different people with each client. This saves you a lot of time and makes your life easier and more pleasant. I, for example, force meetings I conduct or speak at for clients to be put at my chosen hotel in my home city, so I am not dealing with a different hotel staff every time. I have mine Kennedy trained. I often get copywriting clients to use my preferred direct mail list expert and project manager, one of my preferred graphics people, one of my preferred printers. Third, you can make good extra money in backwards commissions and overrides from these experts and vendors, or get reciprocity, them bringing you clients or promoting you, your book, or your media platform. These overrides can continue on a client even after you aren't getting money directly from that client. My copywriting work for a client may be done in 3 months, but he may use the direct mail project manager and pay his fee every month for years. So every month I get a little override check from that vendor. My copywriting work may be done in 3 months, but the client may mail 100,000 pieces with it every month for the next 2 years, 2.4 million pieces. A penny a piece override brings me an extra $24,000 from the printer. These kinds of payments may be small individually, but they add up and require no time or labor. Frankly, I don't keep close track of all this anymore, but I guess this income in each of the past few years has well exceeded $100,000. I disclose in my contract that I may be collecting such commissions, incidentally, and I would never direct a client to anyone he didn't need or that I didn't think best for his needs. Number 7, simply, you need fewer clients to meet your income goals. Since most copywriters would rather write than chase clients, and are typically better at writing than chasing clients, needing fewer new clients per year is very beneficial. Once most copywriters understand these benefits, their argument against consultant plus copywriter positioning becomes personal and, sadly, one of personal disqualification. They think or say, well, it's okay for you, Kennedy, but you're Kennedy and I'm not. What right do I have to advise somebody about their business? What if I'm challenged and not up to the task? What if I give bad advice? What I'm going to do is take you through the requisites for consultant plus copywriter positioning. By omission, what isn't needed will also be apparent. Afterward, we'll come back to your personal disqualification worries. I may be about to do you one of the greatest favors of your life. This can be life-altering, liberating, and enriching. Quite a bit of it contradicts programming and ingrained beliefs held by the masses as dear and aggressively taught by academic, political, and even religious institutions for their own best interests. So one quick preface. Keep firmly in mind that fewer than 5% of the population as a whole, or the population in any career or profession or business, achieve mid-six-figure incomes or higher. Mr. Obama tagged anyone making more than $250,000 a year in total household income as rich, and he meant it as too rich. As for wealthy copywriters, same as wealthy everybody else, 1%. You must grasp the meaning of this. It is that 99% to no better than 95% suffer under false and damaging ideas, beliefs, and programming about money and professional success. I can't spend more time on this here. A more complete, yet still introductory discussion is in my book, No BS Wealth Attraction in the New Economy. Most people have no idea or utterly false ideas about why money moves from person to person, from place to place. What I'm about to share here is 5%er and 1%er insider knowledge and understanding. So what do you need for success with consultant plus copywriter positioning? You will need and do need the media platform laid out in previous modules. Besides that, there are just 5 keys. Key number 1, decision. It is the most critical key of all. The decision to, as Robert Ringer puts it, leapfrog instead of ladder climbing. You will indulge in shameless self-appointment. In royal families, there are two ways to be king. You can wait your turn and wait for one or more inbred buffoons in front of you in line to abdicate, which is rare, or wait for them to die. Or you can kill them. Here in this, to be king, nobody has to die. You just have to put on a crown. That's it. I can make it more complicated, but I'd be dancing for effect. In 1979, for example, when I set myself up as an expert authority on marketing for speakers, began publishing my newsletter on that subject, and began whale hunting, I had 1 year of experience in speaking, one client obtained by accident, no portfolio, no academic credentials, and no prominence in the industry or in the association I was plumbing. I made a little crown out of cardboard, colored it with crayons, put it on my head, and marched around. King. I would do exactly the same thing today if doing it from scratch, God forbid, and I did this repetitively in different niches. Key number 2, realization of ignorance and stupidity all around you. A year ago, just a year ago, I patiently explained what a double squeeze is with 2 landing pages, why it's used, and also how a thank you page is used for immediate upsell to the CEO of a $300 million company. He didn't know. Therefore, he had no idea how his company's website was failing to collect, organize, sell to, and follow up with leads. He couldn't have ever hired me to write this stuff without knowing he needed it. His marketing agency knew, but they were better served by avoiding measurement and accountability. Thanks to his ignorance, they could satisfy him with pretty pictures and visitor statistics. I ruined their party. Keep in mind, I personally don't use the internet at all. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Just because somebody owns or runs a company, sits in the penthouse, is rich, it does not mean he knows everything, or even a lot more than you do, about the few things you know a lot about. If you read chapter 46, just one chapter of the new second edition of my book, No BS Guide to Ruthless Management of People and Profits, you will know more about money math that matters in direct marketing than 95% of all business owners you'll ever encounter. Key number 3, the detective mindset. I might as well plug it. I co-authored my first detective novel with Les Roberts, published in 2013, Win, Place, or Die, with his long-established detective hero dealing with murder in one of my worlds, harness horse racing. You can get your copy from Amazon. Anyway, taking the consultant plus copywriter role is more about asking questions than it is in dispensing advice, and with enough questions, the advice often becomes self-evident. I think having a great interest in mystery fiction and detective characters has helped me with this a lot. When I do a full consulting day with a new client, most of the first few hours is diagnostic. The client is basically being asked to explain himself. I do not follow a script. Each consulting conversation is different, and I let it find its own way to a great extent. Other people are more scripted, and some have clients complete detailed questionnaires in advance. My friend, the famed marketing consultant Jay Abraham, has used a very detailed questionnaire about 20 pages long. Dr. Tom Orent, who sells consulting and coaching to dentists, has a 40-page questionnaire the doctor has to complete before his diagnostic call with Tom that feeds into the prescribing of the program being sold. Briefly, without losing our way through the 5 keys to consultant copywriter positioning, let me list the areas of opportunity I typically look for as the detective. Front end. Number 1, lead generation and multi-step versus one-step. Are they only doing one-step selling? Number 2, mass versus target. Are they advertising to everyone and anyone? And can they be made to focus on one or several specific markets? Number 3, generic message versus micro-targeted messages. Are they pushing out a generic message? Can they be made to segment and match different messages with different customer audiences? Number 4, omitted or neglected media. Are they using only 1 or 2 media when they could use a dozen? Number 5, offers. Are they making any? Are their offers vanilla? Number 6, first-time buyer to customer conversion. What happens after someone buys for the first time? Number 7, aggressive, persistent lead conversion. How many steps? How many offer changes? How much is being done with unconverted leads? Number 8, presentation, no sale follow-up. Number 9, recycling accumulated unconverted leads. In the toolkit, we look to see if they have ordinary brochures and literature versus, number 1, long-form sales letters. Number 2, books, booklets, and special reports. Number 3, audio CDs. Number 4, video DVDs. Number 5, complete shock and awe kit. Number 6, online sales presentations. Number 7, newsletters. Number 8, integrated online-offline systems. And in the back end, well, the back end question used many times is, what's next? Because nothing should just stop or end. The sale of product A should lead into the steps to sell product B. The customer's first visit to the restaurant for dinner should trigger follow-up, a campaign to get them back, a campaign for the lunch club, registration for birthday club, and more. Each customer action triggers the next marketing. Very few businesses are well organized this way, so it's easy to reveal inadequacy and create opportunity. Back-end specifics may include, number 1, extended warranty or service program sale. Number 2, upsell to a better version, to a higher level. Number 3, extension sale, the logical next in a series. Number 4, return visit. Number 5, compliance and participation. Number 6, a special event. And number 7, referrals. I've recorded a separate audio CD with details about all 24 of these areas of opportunity, which will be sent to you as a gift when you finish this course and submit your course completion form available at the end of this module. This is a free bonus gift. You only need request it. Back to the keys. Key number 1 was decision. You do not need anyone's permission or any particular credentials in order to make the switch from copywriter for hire to consultant plus copywriter positioning. Key number 2, realization of ignorance and stupidity all around you. This is about not overestimating others and not underestimating yourself. Key number 3 is the detective mindset. Before going further, I'm going to tell you a quick story that ties them together. In 1987, I was invited by Bill Guthrie and Greg Renker to rewrite the call to action in their first TV infomercial, selling the home study course based on Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. They've been clients ever since and went on to build a billion-dollar business. In 1987, they were not nearly as experienced and sophisticated about direct marketing as they are now, but candidly, I wasn't either. Still, they were already smart and successful entrepreneurs. I accepted the assignment, but only after obtaining a guarantee of testing whatever I came up with and gaining the opportunity of doing some detective work about the entire project. For the TV show's commercial itself, I wound up not just rewriting script, but altering the product and offer. And I did something relatively simple and that might be obvious to you, but was not obvious to them. Because you are an AWAI member, you probably pay attention to Agora, maybe Boardroom, other newsletter publishers, and alternative health and wellness newsletter and supplement marketers. If you do, you know that the vast majority use the strategy of offering a collection of topic-specific special reports with their broader in scope main product. A subscription to the Secrets of Long Healthy Life newsletter, for example, will be tied to choices of or a collection of very specific bonus reports like report number 1, 7 secrets to a perfect night's sleep at any age, report number 2, how to end joint and arthritis pain with a spiced cocktail made in your kitchen for 72 cents a day instead of prescription drugs, report number 3, brain health, 5 foods that reinvigorate aging brain and memory cells, and so on. I was very familiar with this, just as you may be, and I recognize Think and Grow Rich as a broad subject matter product. So I created a collection of micro-topic special Think and Grow Rich reports, each with its own narrow focus title, and made them a focus of the call to action, never mentioned in the show segments. This produced a significant boost in sales. As an aside, looping back to the whole feeder system and media platform matter, I wrote myself into the reports, pointing people to my own media platform and embedding a few whale hunt references. There's a bit more to this story, but I want to make sure you recognize everything that's happened so far. I did not write to assignment. They wanted a rewritten, better commercial with no thought of altering the product and offer. I used consultant plus copywriter positioning to get agreement to wider parameters, and I delivered something very different, something that had more to do with strategy than copy. My success came from having observed something so consistently used by savvy marketers of similarly broad subject matter products and adapting it. I didn't invent anything but the titles of the reports. In addition, I played detective and poked around and asked a lot of questions about every aspect of the sale of this product. I discovered what was to me an amazing fact. The call centers handling the big surges of inbound calls produced by the TV infomercials were staffed with mediocre and unmotivated order takers. So their response to callers with questions was to basically blow them off. Consequently, from a show presenting product offer and price with people calling in to order, they missed about as many orders as they got. Still the detective, I then discovered no follow-up with these non-buyers was occurring. None. Again, I remind you, this was a smart and successful client, but still, here was a pregnant opportunity ignored. There are a number of potential solutions, and more of them today than in 1987. My solution at the time was to send them a letter acknowledging they'd almost bought but didn't, probably because of only 3 reasons, and answering those 3 reasons, enclosing an audio tape of the soundtrack of the show, and an order form with deadline for the same offer. This paid its way, acquiring additional customers at break-even, a valuable thing to do for back-end sales of other products and for list rental income. I subsequently used this exact same strategy in a number of situations, including the 9 years my client's gold-by-the-inch business opportunity was sold by my TV infomercials, and even for myself with the list of non-buyers of my offer made speaking at the giant success events. These opportunities required good, but frankly not great, sales copy to capitalize on, but they were found by detective work. Key number 4 is knowledge. You do need to have your own bag of tricks for marketing strategy, and you have to be careful about not putting yourself into consultant situations that are far beyond your level and range of knowledge. A very fine family doctor should not just decide to do brain surgery. The tightrope here is, quoting Clint Eastwood, a man has to know his limitations, but as I said before, not exaggerate his limitations. A useful exercise is to organize on paper what you do know about strategy, formalizing your bag of tricks. Writing a book forces you to do this, but you don't need that task as the impetus. It's also important to be growing your knowledge of marketing strategy as a student on the subject and by observation and collection of examples. Just as example, of the excellent Michael Masterson books, I would classify Great Leads as a book about copywriting, but Irresistible Offers as a book about strategy, and a book very useful for the consultant plus copywriter. My book, Ultimate Sales Letter, is a book on copywriting, but Ultimate Marketing Plan is a book about strategy. So, 2 things. You need to know what you know, and you need to grow what you know. You also want specific knowledge about a client's field and his business, ideally in advance of your consultant conversation, and definitely to support whatever project and copywriting work you do for that client. Some of this I make my client provide. Some of it I go get independently, even paying out of pocket for certain research as needed. It helps to have and maintain good relationships with your own inner circle of experts, vendors, and peers that you can call on situationally. I think of this as my league of intelligentsia. Here are a few of the sources of specific knowledge I often employ. Number 1, trade journals of the client's industry, 12 to 24 months. Number 2, periodicals the client's competitors advertise in. Number 3, playing prospect with competitors. Number 4, books by or about leaders in the client's field or how-to books in the field. Number 5, books about the client's type of product or service. Number 6, Amazon, done for me. Number 7, Google, done for me. Number 8, gurus regarding marketing in the client's field. Number 9, gold in the old. Number 10, mystery shopping the client. Number 11, fact-finding interviews within client staff or customers. Number 12, purchased research, for example, from InsideDirectMail.com. So let's say I have a new client coming forward who is a franchisor of a new restaurant concept, and I'm going to work on the marketing of that franchise. I'm going to get a year of the restaurant industry trade journal, Nation's Restaurant News. Second, I'm going to get copies of Entrepreneur Magazine, Wall Street Journal, and other media where franchises are advertised. Third, I'll then answer selected ads and pretend to be a potential franchise buyer to get literature, maybe from Subway, Firehouse Pizza, BurgerFi, and other franchisors, to talk with their sales reps, to see what they do. Fourth, I'll get the autobiographies by and biographies of people like Dave Thomas of Wendy's, Tom Monahan of Domino's Pizza, as well as any how-to books available about franchising. Fifth, I'll look for books about owning restaurants that are revealing of how owners talk about their dreams and experiences. Sixth and seventh, I'll have the two top search engines checked for me and have a big stack of content printed out from searches of terms like restaurant franchise, open a restaurant, and so on. Eighth, I'll search out the information marketers and gurus of the restaurant industry and see if they have resources I should buy and ethically borrow from. Ninth, the big one, I'll hunt for old, lost, and forgotten successes and their ads and marketing from the past decades all the way back to the 1900s, 1910, 1920, 1930, 1940, 1950s. I am often able to recycle and update concepts that worked well under far more difficult conditions and with less media than we have now. 10th, often, I'll secretly mystery shop the client myself or hire one of my League of Intelligentsia, an expert who operates a mystery phone shopping company, to do it for me, record and transcribe the calls. This reveals what is really being said to prospects, how their questions are really answered, what's happening with callers who won't book appointments, all the way to follow-up. 11th, I might interview a few of the client's franchise owners and his own sales team. They will usually disclose things, wittingly or unwittingly, that the client doesn't know, thinks are unimportant or are contradictory to what he believes. 12th, I may buy information from a source like Inside Direct Mail or Find SVP, or by having another member of my League of Intelligentsia do mailing list research, or as I said, mystery shopping. Numbers 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8 are all doable in advance of a consulting day if I choose to do so. The others typically occur only after I've been retained and am paid. Having this kind of specific knowledge is very beneficial. It gives you more confidence as a consultant plus copywriter. It enables you to ask smart questions rather than dumb ones. You impress your client with depth of knowledge and with how seriously you take your work. You avoid mistakes. You save a lot of time not reinventing wheels. Let me share a story that illustrates how important gaining this knowledge is from sources other than the client. I took on a very big and complex project for a healthcare company with 1,200 franchised offices. The client was convinced they just needed better ads and more prospects calling in or coming into these offices. Only by having the offices mystery shopped did I discover and prove how wildly undisciplined and ineffective most of the handling of inbound calls and most of the face-to-face selling was, supporting my extensive work on a lead generation system driving prospects first through a central portal and sending them an elaborate print and audio CD package before they got turned over to the local operators, and also getting one of my League of Intelligentsia hired by a couple hundred of the franchise owners for 6 and 12 months mystery shopping and phone coaching programs from which I received a backwards override. Only by spending a day on the phone, talking with franchise owners, did I uncover an extraordinarily useful copy concept tied to information the client knew but in a full consulting day had not judged worth telling me, and also uncover a specific marketing tool created and used by one of the franchise owners very successfully that I then snatched, rewrote, and improved and made a major piece of the copywriting work product I subsequently provided. With consultant plus copywriter positioning, exercise of control over defining and expanding the project, doing my investigative and knowledge-gathering work, I made this worth over $1 million to me and very valuable to the client. Had I had copywriter for hire positioning and written to assignment, at best there might have been $50,000 or $100,000 in it for me and much less value for the client. Key number 5 is paperwork. I'm amazed at how casual and sloppy a lot of copywriters are about the main letter of agreement or contract, other documents, and correspondence. In this module's documents, I've shown you samples of some of my key business documents. This material has evolved over 30 years. I urge studying it carefully, but I have a caveat. All this is shown for sample purposes only, to be used as you see fit, as inspiration for developing or strengthening your own materials. It is not meant to be copied verbatim, and in fact doing so is copyright infringement. Further, I am not a lawyer. My documents have not been prepared or vetted by attorneys, and this is not a substitute for legal counsel or work by attorneys. Everything here is provided as general information, not specific application to your business. With that in mind, neither I, my companies, the publisher of this course, or any affiliated entities accept any responsibility or liability for whatever decisions you make as a proximate result of these samples and related information. As an aside, you might want to consult your commercial insurance agent or a referral from AWAI about specific consultant liability insurance, which is quite inexpensive, or about inflating the amount covered by your regular umbrella policy. In 40 years, I've only had one situation where this was useful, but one is enough. A much more comprehensive discussion of successful client management is part of my complete Business of Copywriting course available from AWAI. I'll wrap this module up with a little slice of metaphysics. The statement is, you have to be there before you get there. Think about it. You now own an important collection of resources you can use and should use repeatedly for years to come. Thank you for your participation.